welcome to another episode of Bear Bass USA with your host DC Bass USA. I decided today I'm going to come out and teach you guys how to use a chatterbait. If you guys have never used one, if you guys don't know how to, I'm going to teach you everything I know, everything I have done, every little tip and technique I've used to catch fish on one of my favorite baits, the chatterbait. One of the things you want to do with the chatterbait, I like to fish it just like a square bill. I like to bounce it off a cover. I just got a hit. I like to bounce it off of rocks. I like to bounce it off timber. I like to rip it through grass. Chatterbaits are really good fish catchers when it comes to fishing off of weeds, fishing off of timber, and fishing off all sorts of different cover. If you can bounce it off a log, and it dips. I just got another bite. And it disrupts. You see that on that stop, that pause. And it disrupts that swimming motion of that bait. That's when you usually get bit, and that's when I paused it and I just got bit. So we'll just keep making some casts if we can't catch some fish. I'm going to try to locate these fish real quick and try to find where they're. Yesterday they're along this bank, and that's why I'm on this bank right now. But they might have moved last night, so who knows? We'll see what we can't catch. When you're reeling this bait in, what you should think about doing is popping it. What that'll do is that it'll cause that chatterbait to either swirl in a little spiral motion, or it'll cause it to go side to side or up and down. And what that does, if there's a fish following it, if there's a fish thinking about biting it, it might end up biting it because you paused it or you gave it that little extra motion. And that's what they were biting it on yesterday, was just a twitch, pause, retrieve. Is I'd slowly swim it in and I pause it or twist it and pause and then start reeling again, and I'd bite it on that little pause. And so change up your retrieves when you're fishing a chatterbait. You don't always have to do it the exact same way every single time. Fish have moods. Their moods will change, and they'll let you know what they want. And so just try everything you have, try everything you know, and eventually you end up getting bit. Yesterday I was right off the bat, I caught 2 fish, and I think the reason why there's one. Little 2-pounder. He's nothing special, but exactly what I was just saying with that twitch pause. I paused it and I thought I was caught in grass. I ripped it, and I was caught in grass, and as soon as it came out of that grass, I got bit. Perfect hook set, right at the top of the mouth. But that's what I love about. I'll discuss what I'm using right here. This is a Strike King Rage Blade. The thing I like about the Rage Blade is it's got a bigger bill. Get out of here, buddy. It's got a really oddly shaped bill as far as a chatterbait. Normally you see those, Z-mans with a kind of coffin-shaped bill. Am I stepping on you? Get out of here. That fish is, I feel him. I can feel him right now. But, so it's got like a oval shaped, or not oval, it's kind of like a ovally triangle shaped blade. The cool thing about that is it gives off a different kind of rattle, or a different kind of chatter. And the reason why I like that is because most people are throwing such and such lure, and if it gives off something just a little bit different, that usually means the difference between bites and no bites. What that fish catch just told me, that fish came out of about a foot of water. This water's not warm by any means. And so, but the reason why I think they're so shallow is either they're spawning. I didn't check his fins, I didn't see if they're bloody. But the reason why I think they're so shallow is because this water's really muddy and it's cold. And so that warmer water is going to be up shallow. And if you get muddy conditions even during the summer, these fish are going to push up shallow, push up tight to cover, and sit on that cover until that water either becomes clear or something else changes. So I'm going to keep casting up there, see if I can't get a bit again. Usually in this lake, I've noticed that they will school up. If there's one fish, there's usually another. So again, one of the things to think about when you're fishing chatterbait is the way you're retrieving it. Retrieves with the chatterbait can change everything. If you're just doing a steady retrieve when they're biting it, keep doing that. If they're not biting it on a steady retrieve, give it pops. That's how I've caught most of my fish on a chatterbait, especially during the day. It's because these fish, I don't think they're really into chasing food at this time. But we got a little bit of overcast, a little bit of moving water, a little bit of chop. There's a fish right there. There's a little bit of chop on the water. And so I think that's what's causing them to bite and chase bait like that. But I'm still gonna give it a pop. I'm still gonna get that popping retrieve and force these fish to eat. Sometimes either that's a reaction style bite or that's just a, hey, I want that. And that fish looked like he wanted it. He choked it pretty deep. One of the things I love to do with the chatterbait is fan cast. If you guys don't know what a fan cast is, it's a series of casts in an area. So I'm sitting here, I'm trying to stay away from these fish, trying to stay away from where they are. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cast in an umbrella shape, basically, or a fan. Don't think about, I guess you could think about a normal fan or a Chinese fan, whether how they're shaped like this. That's basically what a fan cast is. You're just casting just like that in a wide area as many times as you can. What that helps you do is that helps you locate the fish. And that's one of the things I always do with the chatterbait. Unless there's a beautiful piece of cover and I think there's a fish on it, I'll cast to it several different times, 3 or 4 times at different angles. And I may do the same cast twice, just in case he didn't want to bite it the first time. And I'll change up my trees on that cast because, especially in this lake, there's a lot of wood. There's a lot of stick-ups, a lot of laydowns. And it's just because there's so many trees around here that have died and they've broken off and come into this lake. And so one of the things I love to do is just target wood, especially with frogs and topwaters during the summer. If there's a little piece of that wood sticking up out of the water, you know there's probably going to be a fish on it. Wood holds fish, and so does the grass. During the summer, there's a lot of grass in this lake. There's a lot of submergent and emergent cover, vegetation, I should say, and that's where the fish love to hang out. There's only one way to figure out, just catch them. Oh, I just got blown up on. So I'm going to cast back there. If you have a follow-up bait, when a fish does that, throw your follow-up bait back over there, and most of the time you will get bit. Damn, that fish makes me want to stay back here, but maybe it may have been a one-and-done situation. Oh, just kidding. Just kidding. You hit it again. Same spot. You hit it again. Now this is when I'd throw a follow-up bait because he's hit it twice and missed it twice. So that may be a spawning fish. It may just be a reaction strike from a spawning fish. It may just because the water's muddy and he's missed it. So I'd slow down, put something in front of his face that he could see. If he's in a feeding mood, he'd probably eat it because he's already hit this twice. All right, we're gonna move. We're gonna move over to the other side. Actually, we're gonna just fish this bank up here. Come with me. I'll teach you a little bit more about chatterbait fishing. Need to get a little bit better angle on that fishing area over there. I know there's fish. I know there's fish over there, but just forcing one to bite, that's the problem. All right, so I don't think there's any fish over there. I made plenty of casts over there. So I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move back to where I was catching fish over there. See if I can't get any more. Another thing to pay attention to when there's wind and you're using a moving bait. Moving bait always mimics a fish or a crawfish or something that's moving, of course. So what you want to pay attention to is where that wind is blowing. Pretty sure I don't know where this wind is coming from. It's blowing over there to that cove. And I think that's why I caught that fish over there, because they're chasing bait fish, because those bait fish are eating things that are being blown up by the wind over there. So we're going to go over there and see if we can't get anything. Little key, if you guys get grass or any kind of cover on your chatterbait, they're pretty weedless. They don't pick up too much grass. They're pretty nice. Just pop your rod tip, and I'll usually relieve that grass off that chatterbait so it starts chattering again. key with the chatterbait, don't fight them jump too much, but if they do, reverse that rod pressure on them. The reason why is because chatterbaits have bigger hooks, and when these fish jump, it's easy to throw them. You see how easily that came out? Just a little guy, but fish is a fish when it comes to fishing, so I'm happy. See if we can't get some more off that chatterbait. Another key that I want to show you guys with this chatterbait that I did myself is with this Walleye Slayer swim bait, that gold color really stands out in this muddy water. So does that black and blue, but to give them a little target on that tail, I dipped it in chartreuse dipping fluid. I also got a little scent on it for them to hang on to it. So that's how I like to fish my chatterbaits. I always put a swimming trailer on it unless I'm fishing stumps or you know, if I'm fishing grass, I put a swim bait. If I'm fishing rocks or stumps, I usually sometimes put a crawfish on the back, and they still bite it just like that. So, hopefully he's not underneath the camera. Oh, he is. He's right there. Get out of here, buddy. There he goes. He's just sitting right underneath the camera. So I think this is where the fish are. So I'm going to just keep casting over here, make as many casts as I can until I think I've exhausted my opportunities. And then I'll move on to some other place. Key, like I said, wind-blown bank when it comes to moving baits. If you can't find the fish, that's probably usually where they are. Or wind-blown structure. This time of year, the water's heating up. These fish are getting ready to spawn. It's been a long winter of not eating much protein or substance for them. So if you got shad or bait fish in your lake, I love to match that bait fish. If you have a grassy lake, chatterbait is one of the best baits you can throw besides a swim bait or a frog. Fish the outside of that grass line. Usually what happens is those fish will sit in that grass, those bass will sit in that grass and wait for bait fish to swim by, and they'll ambush them from that grass. So if you can find a grass line, find where it drops off either the hard bottom or soft bottom or just slower grass, and find out where those bait fish are swimming. And if you throw a chatterbait in those areas, there's a fish right there. And if you throw a chatterbait in those areas, you usually get bit. I don't know why I said usually 3 times, but you'll usually get bit. They work all year round. Spring, summer, and fall. Of course, not when there's ice, but anytime those fish are chasing bait fish, you can bet you'll get bit on a chatterbait. So if you see crappie and stuff flying out of the water being chased by bass, either throw a topwater or throw a chatterbait or a swim bait. Some kind of moving bait that matches those fish. There's another one. Keep that tension on them. It's a little bit better one. Another fish on that Strike King Rage Blade. That Walleye Slayer swim bait, the chartreuse tip. Sweet. They always swim towards the camera. Sweet, another fish. Keith, we can't get some more. Oh, I just touched him. I just felt the fish. So, Jared's gonna show you these catches. Another little guy on that chatterbait. I think I was sitting a little bit deeper water. I'm sure there's probably a little variation in the depth over there that he come off of, but another little guy on that chatterbait. I'm gonna keep casting over there, see if I can't get another one in that deeper water again. Again, off that fish, what I did is I popped it as I just went pop, pop, pop. You know, I lifted my rod. I'll show you. Like this, pop, pop, and that's when he bit it. So that's how I've caught all my fish today. So see if we can't get some more. So just cast my lure off for about 30 yards because I didn't check my line. And it came flying from over that on that bank and just landed right underneath this tree. But now I'm using basic polymer knot. That's what I use for all my every single lure I tie on with fluorocarbon. There we go. Basic polymer knot. Oh, come on. So one of the keys when you're tying a polymer knot is don't pull on the main line because you'll burn it. Pull on that tag end and you won't burn it. But that's the knot I use for chatterbaits and fluorocarbon knots for when I'm using fluorocarbon, the knot I use is a polymer knot. So I just fished this whole bank up on this side. Didn't get another bite, so I'm going to go back over where try to fish this wind-blown bank. That seems to be a key today, is fishing those wind-blown banks has produced me my most fish. I caught one over there, but that's when the wind died down and nothing was really happening. And so I think what I need to do is fish those wind-blown banks and just keep cranking and winding, see if I can't get some more fish. But if I do, I'll let you guys know. So, wow. There's something I want to talk about with this technique that I haven't talked about yet, is the hook set. When you're setting the hook on a chatterbait, it's nothing new. But you know, when you're reeling in, I like to keep my rod at probably a 45-degree angle from the bait. And what that does is that keeps, when the fish bites, it's a little bit of a cushion for that big hook. What am I saying? That's not right. If you haven't fished a chatterbait before, usually what happens is those fish will hit it so hard, or they'll strike on it so hard that it usually sets the hook for itself. But it depends on the way you're fishing your bait. If you're fishing it in a yo-yo, if they're biting it on the fall, if they're biting it when it comes up, all you'll feel is just a weight. It'll feel like you got snagged, or it'll thump it. But what I've been feeling now is after I pop it and it kind of falls, I just feel the weight when I start reeling and there's no more chatter. So what I'll do to make sure that's a fish and not just weeds, I'll reel down to it really, really quick. That's why I like a high speed gear ratio reel to really reel into those fish, and that really helps me decipher whether or not it's a fish or a snag, or if it's grass. And then also when you do that, when you start reeling in really quick, what will usually happen if it's not a fish, or if it's log, or if it's grass, it'll pop it over it, or it'll come ripping through it, and that usually causes a reaction strike. So basically when you're setting the hook and you feel a bite, or what you think is a bite, just do this. So let's say I feel I get a bite, just reel down quick, and if you think it's a fish, then just swipe. Just swing your rod. You guys have probably seen it in my last couple fish that I got the hook sets on video. But it's a pretty simple hook set. You don't have to yank on them. You don't have to set the hook super hard. Try to turn them away from anything. But now I want to talk about if you're fishing your heavy cover. That's something you need to do. Is that if you feel a bite and you think it's a fish, reel down to it quick if it's a fish, and start reeling as fast as you can to get them away from that cover. And make sure your rod always keeps tension on that fish, because with these chatterbaits, something I've noticed is they got a bigger hook, of course. They got a bigger hook than most baits. You know, it's kind of like the size of probably a flipping hook. That's how big that hook is. But what I like to do when I get a bite on chatterbaits is, as soon as I get that bite, I'll start reeling down, I'll feel the bite, and then I'll just keep going backwards as fast as I can. And always maintain tension on that fish, because if they jump and you got slack line with that big hook, what will usually happen is they'll throw it pretty easily. That's one of the downsides to a chatterbait. If the fish does jump, sometimes they'll come off. But if you keep tension on that fish, and when they do jump, keep your rod tip down, or keep it angled, and keep reverse tension on that fish, you'll rarely ever lose a fish. Now, it takes some getting used to. I've lost several fish on this chatterbait the past couple days. Yesterday, I lost about 3. One of them was actually really funny, because I was trying to play the fish, and I'll show you real quick. He was coming at me like this, and he was just right below my kayak. And I came around this way, and he started to come up. So I pulled my rod up, as quick as I could, but he was already going full speed towards me. Jumped up, hit my rod, and just popped off. So, key thing to hooking these fish: always, always, always maintain tension on them. If you don't, sometimes they'll fall. Again, with the hook set, like I said before, once you feel that tension, feel that bite, reel down to it, and then sweep.